your sunglasses and your iPhone charger and your change and your registration and whatever else you may have in there, or your laptops or your bag with your money in it or whatever else that you may have left in the car. So it's a good idea to take those out and lock your vehicle. Does anybody go to the Wilderness Park up here? Okay, so if you just walk through the parking lot of the Wilderness Park, you'll see the laptop bag with the computer sticking out, the purse, you know, with the $100 bills sticking up out of the top of it. And it's like, please, take that stuff out of the car. Don't leave it in there, because it's just an enticement for that random person who's walking through the neighborhood in the middle of the night. When you park in a well-lit area, that may not always be possible, but when you can, it's a good idea to do, because again, it goes right back to the bushes in front of the house. You know, if somebody can't see somebody doing it, they're not going to be able to call. We had one the other day, just, you know, regular broad daylight. Guy parks car, gets out, smashes the window, takes a bunch of stuff and leaves. And luckily, somebody called, had the license plate number, and they were arrested. But that came from an observant citizen being able to see that. And then avoid isolated areas, especially after dark. That's common sense stuff right there. So again, like I said, the success of us as a police department really depends on the help that we ask for you guys. Buzz went over the coverage of the area of the city and how many people we have out there. We really, we love to have your eyes and ears out there for us also. And it really helps us do our job and catch these bad guys. And so as we move forward, that's what I would ask you. Some of you are extremely good about it. Sometimes people think that because they're the victim of a crime that they're too embarrassed to call, because they're going to go, man, Aaron said the other night, don't leave your valuables in the car, and I left my wallet in there, and now it got broken into and somebody stole it. I'm not going to call. Please do not feel bad. Okay, we've all done the same thing before, and we need you to call so that we can follow up on that criminal activity. Don't think that we're going to make fun of you if something like that happens. Okay? Thank you very, very much. Oh, did I skip past it?
You skipped past it.
Oh, I didn't think you put it up there. Sorry.
He cheated you out of one slide. So basically, just to reiterate what he's already covered, it's up there as well. You know, see something, say something. Common sense goes a long way. So with that being said, let's get back to the community patrol. On to the friendlier topics for the evening. Community patrol is a group of folks we have over the age of 45 that are assisting us with duties at the police department. Now, they're not out on patrol with a gun and a badge. However, they are in a blue uniform. Mr. Don Sturgis, would you come forward, please? This is one of our volunteers. Exactly. Let's give him a hand, folks. By just a little bit. This gentleman gives us, I don't know how many hours throughout the month, the year. It's a phenomenal amount of time that he commits to help us out, whether it's community patrol, where he's out driving one of our black and white Tahoes in this uniform, patrolling neighborhoods. He's also helping out with IT issues that we have. He does a lot of things like this. He deals with our CERT team as well, and I'll get to that slide here coming up, once again jumping ahead. However, the amount of time he does as a volunteer for us is phenomenal. Now, a plug for our community patrol volunteer, we're always looking for more folks that are interested to help out. I know we have another lady in the audience here that's tempted to join us here shortly, Miss Helene Goldwater. Some of you may know her from the area, if not another neighbor to know, but she's looking to join us as well. So for those of you who may be interested, Don would be answering questions later this evening if anyone wants to find out about how to become a, I've got technical issues, Don can help me, that anyone would want to be wanting to join our volunteer system. So what they do cover is vacation house checks. They assist with fingerprinting. So any teachers that are here that have to get re-fingerprinted each and every time they go to a different district, they handle that as well. They do the community patrol, which I've already covered. Evidence transportation, they'll help out our evidence technician by driving drugs to the lab, evidence to the lab that needs to be processed, which once again frees up our detectives that were short one, helps them out with that. Parking enforcement, clerical support. They do traffic control, they help out with parades, they do everything under the sun, which is phenomenal for us because it's a force multiplier. By having those folks out there helping us, instead of having those 4 officers that I showed or told you about earlier with 1 in each beat, we have them out before when we had a lot of residential burglaries occurring. we had 2 separate cars filled with 2 of the volunteers driving around to assist us as well. So more eyes and ears are out there. So in addition to them and our see something, say something, we're going to get everybody out there looking to help us out. So that's community patrol there on that note. We had mentioned vacation house checks, and Aaron had talked about that when you do go on vacation. One thing that we do offer when you are on vacation, I know we all like taking vacations because you honestly need them, is we do vacation house checks. And when I say we, it's more along the lines of community patrol. What you can do is on this section right here, and I'll point that to you, it's on the PD website, but it's kind of buried in there just a little bit. So that's why I have it under crime prevention tab and then vacation security. There's the vacation check PDF form for the application. So when you do decide to go on vacation, if you fill out that form and drop it off at the police department, what that does is the community patrol folks have a checklist of who's out of town at that point in time, and they go along and check that house to make sure your front door's locked. You have a neighbor. What's that? Weekends as well, Don, I believe? Not on Saturday, but not on Sunday. But what they'll do is they'll go and check that house to make sure that if you have a neighbor walking your dog, taking your mail and things of that nature, they're checking on those doors to make sure that they're locked. Because there are some times where people forget, don't know the locking mechanism. Something may occur where that door's unlocked and they let us know. An officer comes out, checks it out, makes sure that nothing's occurred, and then we'll get in contact with the person who has a key and make sure that house is secure. So kind of a way to give you a little bit more peace of mind when you go. So double and triple that with the alarm set, the lights, making sure everything's set. It's another way to kind of harden your house to make sure that no issues arise. Now, another thing we had talked about and briefly was CERT. CERT is the Community Emergency Response Team. We're fortunate enough in the city to have a very large team. We have at least 115 folks right now with more on the way to join our CERT team. What they do after they finish their 20 plus hours of training here, and they do quite a bit of good work, a lot of it's based out of the Hughes Center here, is they help us out in emergency preparedness, whether it's when the big one hits, because we all know it's when it hits, in fires, search and rescue. We use CERT for a multitude of situations which help us out. Once again, it's a force multiplier. There's times where, depending on what the type of call is, we may not have the officers available to assist with a lot of this. We call it CERT in conjunction with the community patrol, and that helps us out immensely. So, as you can see, CERT first started in 1985 by the LA City Fire Department. It's now caught on with FEMA. FEMA had to follow us first to figure out how to work it, but it's spread throughout not only our nation, but internationally as well. So it's a very large thing to be involved with. One thing that CERT does, and this is another portion that they help us out with, is they go throughout the city to, whether it's an HOA, a small residential area, and they do neighborhood safety preparedness meetings. Now what that is a quick overview, 45-minute, maybe an hour presentation, and what that'll do is they'll come out and they'll help you prepare an emergency plan. Go right here. Communication plan for your families in case there is that emergency. They'll help develop emergency supply kits, all sorts of different things to help you become better prepared. Ideally, I would like you to go through the CERT training. If you have 20 spare hours to spend and come on over and take that training, it's phenomenal. I've taken it. I'm actually one of the CERT liaisons, so I help govern a lot of the things that occur with that group. But by having that and making yourselves better trained, it helps prepare you when that event occurs, which in turn helps us on the backside. One additional thing for the young folks here who have bicycles, even everybody else who has bicycles, who's had a bicycle stolen, unfortunately? Any hands? I'm sure I have quite a few, unfortunately. One thing we have through the police department that we like to push, back in the day, we used to have you come in, we'd give you a little tag, we'd have you fill out a piece of paper, and we have documentation that you register that bike with us. Those days are gone now. Now, since the internet's jumped up so much, that assists us by going through the National Bike Registry. You register that bicycle. Any law enforcement agency 24/7 throughout the US can run that serial number or that tag that's on your bike, and they should be able to find the actual owner for it. So when we have a picture just like this is part of our impound lot where we normally store vehicles. We have a lot of bicycles stacked up here, including this lonely little tricycle that needs a family. We have lots of bikes that go recovered by us, however, unreturned to the families, which we'd love to get them back to the folks. So one way to sign up for the National Bike Registry, and you can see the costs associated, $10 for 10 years is a pretty good way to secure your bicycle getting back to you. Now, this is a way you can do it. There's a website, or you can call the 800 number. Basically, help us get our bike back to you, back to your house. And that's not just us here, but any law enforcement agency. It makes it go a lot easier. Someone needs that. And who all get the emergency notification that was sent out yesterday? Perfect. Everbridge. There's cards on the back table. For those of you who have not signed up yet, I would highly suggest that you sign up. This allows us to give, obviously, emergency notifications, but also notifications if there's anything else that comes up, such as this meeting, any other city functions, meetings, whatnot, that we need to get that information out to you folks. This is a quick and easy way for us to do it, and it's sent either to your mobile phone, your home phone, or your emails. So once again, you can either check by going here, or on the back side of those cards, there's actually a QR code. So those of you with smartphones, which is probably everyone, you can scan that in, and it automatically pops up to that link. Now to the fun part of the evening. We're going to open up to questions, but first, just to let you folks know, we've been recording this presentation this evening. It will be on a YouTube channel. The city has a YouTube channel. We'll also have a link to this through the city or the police department website, so you'll be able to view that later on if there's anything you want covered. And at this point, what I'll do is we have a microphone. We'll probably walk around and hand it to you folks. That way, it's a little bit easier for everyone to hear, and then we can field the questions.
Cell phone 911.
Good question. In regard to 911 cell phone calls, the way it works now, if you're close to a freeway, normally what that'll do is get routed to CHP. So say you're down by Indian Hill in San Jose, depending on how close you are and which cell phone tower you're going to hit, that may be routed to CHP. If it's something that's occurring within the city of Claremont, or say you're in Pomona, or wherever you may be at, and you know city boundaries, if they say CHP dispatch, let them know I need to talk to whichever local jurisdiction it is in regard to whatever that 911 call is generated about. So that is a good question. Freeways, obviously, if you're on the freeway, it should be routed to 911. There's the occasional missed routes of 911 where we get some from Upland, say. We'll transfer, we're able to route them back to them. So there shouldn't be too much of a lag time for it.
Can I speak to that a little bit? There is a number I put in my cell phone. I'll give it to you, 909-626-1296. You'll find it somewhere on the police website. 909-626-1296. That's the number that rings in the dispatch office. So that's equivalent of calling 911. I've had 2 occasions where I've not dialed 911 and gotten the California Highway Patrol. The problem with that is you've got to explain the whole situation to them before they'll transfer you over to Claremont. So it's worth having that number. So if you want to call 911 in Claremont with your cell phone, call that number and you'll guarantee to get into dispatch and not Highway Patrol. 909-626-1296.
And it sounds like it should be on the website as well. I know we had other, oh, yes, sir.
Thank you. Used to be that mail theft was a federal offense. I'm wondering where that comes down, or if there's any jurisdictional question about that. People stealing mail out of mailboxes.
What we've seen recently on that, depending on the amount of mail that's been stolen, if we have numerous victims, we'll contact the local postal inspector, he's normally a very good resource that we can use, very helpful. They are willing to take that prosecution federally. It just depends on what they have. One thing that they definitely like to take, there's the mailbox key. It's called an arrow key. It's got a unique shape to it. Anytime there's someone that's in custody that has those, they are definitely interested on that, because that one type of arrow key unlocks numerous amounts of community mailboxes and post office boxes around the area. It's not a specific key such as at your house. That arrow key opens up numerous boxes. So they will take federal cases. However, a lot of the parameters are hard to be met, and it's case by case.
You showed the days of the weeks on the burglaries. Is there any particular window of time that we're more vulnerable?
You want to take that, Don? Because he's our guy that runs all our stats for us to get that, and put you on the spot here a bit.
Yes. You start answering. I'll go ahead.
I'll answer this. It's okay. In the past, it was usually the mindset when you went to work. That was the time frame where you saw a lot of residential burglaries. But the new trend is it to be occurring in the evening, after 6 o'clock, sometimes even 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. So that was kind of unusual, but that's been the trend at least the last 6 months. So you have to kind of get out of the mindset of it's just while we're at work, 9 to 5. So even in the evenings, we need to keep a watchful eye.
Are they targeting homes where people are keeping or are they going into it?
The ones that we've watched basically on surveillance video of what their behavior is, they'll spend a minute or two in the backyard, in the area, looking into windows. They're not going to go into a house that's occupied. They want to get your property. They don't want to encounter a person. On occasion, they may enter a house where there happens to be somebody in the house, but that's not their intention. But what the trend has been is a car will go, drop the people off at a house. The people will jump in the backyard, stay in the yard for a while, look in, make sure there's no movement in the house. Then they'll go in and burglarize the house. They're on a cell phone the whole time with their getaway car. Okay, we have our stuff, come pick us up. The car swoops in, picks them up, and they're gone before anybody knows the difference.
If I just dovetail on that, several of the burglaries that we've had that have occurred where people were in the home, they sometimes will knock on the door, and they'll knock and knock and knock, and people don't want to answer the door, they're laying down, and so the criminal thinks, oh, the place is empty. They kick the door, and now there's a homeowner standing there and screams, and they run. So if you're home and you don't want to talk to somebody, there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm not interested, I can't talk now. That way at least lets the criminal know there's somebody in there, and they're going to go someplace else than to try to hit the door, because they don't want to risk. Because they know as soon as they break in, you're calling 911 and the jig's up for them.
Aaron, can you talk a little bit about the doorbell device that actually rings to your phone?
Yeah, I mentioned the Ring camera before. When it detects motion or when somebody presses it, it sends a notification to your smartphone, and you can actually see the person standing there, and you can talk to them, or you can listen to what's going on also. So through my phone, I can hit the little microphone and say, what do you want? Who are you? And then say, I'm not interested, thanks. See you later. And it works really good. The audio quality is actually pretty good. So it's a neat feature to have, and it typically it goes pretty quick. So when they hit the doorbell, it's only a couple seconds until I'm getting the notification on my phone, and I can be here at work and see people, on my front porch. Or if I'm having one of those Amazon packages delivered and I see the guy bring it up and walk away, I can call my neighbor and say, hey, I'm not going to be home for about 6 hours. Can you just take that package and throw it on my back porch? And they're really good about doing that too. So it's a cool, neat little device.
So just to sum that all up is, yes, the knock-knock burglars that we refer to them as, if you are home or you have a device like that and you don't want to open the door, at least acknowledge the fact that you're home so that they go somewhere else, and call 911 and let us know about the activity so we can prevent your neighbor's house from getting burglarized. Yes, there is a solicitation ordinance in effect. Yes. Yes. The property is yours. You can put any device on your property that you so desire. Now, if you have HOA regulations, then you have to go through your HOA association. It depends on your requirements for HOA, but I would say you're probably good with that. Yeah. Yes, sir.
We have a neighborhood with 30 houses, and we keep a neighborhood watch. Thank you. We keep a neighborhood watch list of the name of the house, of the family, the address, and the telephone number, and the primary person to call. And all 30 houses are equipped with this sheet as it's updated when new people come in or somebody moves. So 30 houses are on this one list. I consider it quite confidential, so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. My question is, does the police department want to have a record of this that shows the name of the person who lives in the house and all that other information?
Sorry. First off, that's great information right there. Great information. When we're talking about, you know, meeting your neighbors and all that kind of stuff, that's what we're talking about. Because it's dynamic and it changes frequently, it may not be something that somebody wants to continually provide to the police department. If there's a call for service at one of those locations, we have that information in our computer system already. But if something happens at your house or one of those other 30 houses, we're going to be knocking on your doors, your neighbors' doors, and we're going to be saying, hey, something happened over here. Do you know where they're at or how I can get a hold of them? And then we've got that list that you can just look at and go off of that. So that's perfect. Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, if it's a smart lock, it may not be a smart door. So
Yeah.
They, like I said, they're resourceful. They'll look for the weak point. So if they can't get that way, they're going to go with the weakest link. They may pop a window. They're smashing out a sliding glass door. Obviously, you want to target harden as best as possible and make it as unattractive as possible. You know, put out the signs that say, I've got an alarm system, stickers on the windows, dog in the backyard. Like I said, if I'm a crook and I'm looking, I'm going to go the easiest one. So if you make it look that way, then they're going to go someplace else. It's kind of like, why do they do armored cars the way they do? They're not going to get, you know, hopefully they're looking for the weak link is when they come out of the truck rather than trying to take the truck while it's in motion. So same thing. So I mean, when they are breaking in, like I said, we had a couple of homes that have video surveillance. Some of the surveillances are really good. Some of the cameras that you can get it, like I said, you get at Costco. But a lot of times when we try to pull that video off, it's kind of pixelated or it's washed out. The infrared's not working, so I suggest that you buy the better cameras if you can. One of the new technologies is facial recognition. And so if we have a good picture of the face, we can run that through and potentially come up with a match or some potential suspects. So it's kind of what it's
Let me follow up on that. There actually is at least one website that shows various, whether it's alarm system cameras that aren't password protected. And you could actually go on there and turn on and off the lights that are, or turn on and off their alarm, or turn off their camera system. So the key thing is that when you buy a package like that you change the password and you create your own password so that it's not open, not protected by password. But there is the ability, if you take the precautions, they won't get access. But if you don't take the precautions, then you do risk somebody going in there and defeating your alarm system.
I had a question. One of my neighbors told me that you can't in our backyard with the gates locked.
The police can't? No, we can. Yeah, they may not for whatever reason, but no. If we're chasing somebody and we think that they've been involved in criminal activity and they go into your backyard, yes, we can chase them in there. Correct. Yeah, we can jump over or do whatever else. If we have to break something, then we're gonna make sure you know about that. But yeah, we can.
I will tell you, when we do the community patrol, when we check your house, if we can get in your backyard, we'll walk all around your house, check every door and every window. Speak loud.
So I was burglarized last April.
Part of that's really a personal question that you have to ask yourself. And it's, you know, what am I capable of? What should I be doing? Our typical recommendation it would be the same thing that we use in any sort of critical incident like that. You can run, you can hide, or you can fight. And typically we would tell you first to run if you can. Run, get out, go to the neighbors, do whatever you can to make that phone call to the police. If not, can you shelter somewhere in place and hide where they're not going to find you? That may not be possible inside of your house because they're going through all the little areas where commonly people would hide. And then the last one would be, do you need to fight? And that's something that only you as an individual can answer. That may not be something that you're comfortable or capable doing. So it's something to think about before that happens, because then if and when it does, you will already have that plan developed in your head to be able to make that reaction. So the text to 911 is something that's being worked on right now throughout the entire state. And we're actually working on it with our own police department. So that is going to be something in the future. Yes.
Thanks for the presentation, but there's one key word on the sign and everywhere else, the definition of suspicious. I have a park across the street from my house, and there's people parking there all times of the day or night. Is that suspicious? Or
Well, like I said, that's going to be up to individual again, like Lieutenant Fate was saying. What we talk about suspicious is that there are time and time again where we respond to a burglary, we respond to some type of a crime, and we go knocking on the doors like Aaron's saying, and hey, did you see anything? Oh yeah, I saw a van that was parked in the driveway an hour and a half ago. Well, an hour and a half ago, if you would have called an hour and a half ago, we might have caught them. And so now we have to talk to the victim and say, I'm sorry, all your stuff's gone. So if you see something, like I said, that looks funny, because you know what funny is. I mean, it's kind of and if that's suspicious to you, why is that suspicious? And the dispatcher may ask you that. Why is that suspicious? As you know, somebody's walking around with a clown mask, you know, that seems to be the big thing. Is that suspicious? It's a clown mask, but why are they doing it? It's kind of creepy effect. So let us come out there and talk to them. So if they're doing something wrong, chances are that they may be smoking drugs, they may be out for an afternoon tryst, who knows? Let us come out and talk with them and find out, and then we'll find out, run their name, run their license plate. Are they doing up to something to no good? Are they going to go to jail? If anything, at least they know that people are watching. They're going to get bothered by the cops. If they want to be private, it's not going to be. They're going to think I'm going to go someplace else because the cops are going to be coming in and talking with us.
And just like the example we had back here, you know, the guy walked up with a clipboard. The house is being tenanted. It looks kind of official. Is that suspicious? Sometimes it's a tough call. Or the people that are dressed with their orange vests on and their hard hats and everything else stealing copper wire. I mean, it looks like they're doing work, but they're not. They're thieves. So one of the things, you know, when we're training police officers, it's if you have to look at something twice, it's worth you checking it out. So when you see something and you get that weird kind of sixth sense feeling that something is just not right, it's out of place, that may be something that you want to take a little closer look at. That may be suspicious and warrant a phone call to us.
By all means, give us a call. Any call that comes into our department, the dispatcher will take that call. A call is generated. An officer will respond out there to see exactly what's going on at that point in time. Don't feel bad about it. Don't question it. It may, may not. Like Aaron said, if you have that feeling that something's not right, you know your neighborhoods more than we do as far as who belongs, what's going on, what should be occurring in that neighborhood. If something's out of place, give us a call. We will gladly come out. Yes, ma'am. They don't want to get caught. So if there's an audible alarm that goes off, when they break that door down, they break the window, they go somewhere into your house and there's sensors in that house. Anything to scare them off, much like a car alarm, it goes off when someone breaks into a car. They don't want to be seen, whether it's they're entering into the house, coming out of the house. Their whole goal is to get in there without being caught. So a lot of those alarm systems, the lights on, anything that makes it a hard target for them to try and hit is better for you guys. So a lot of times that is a very good preventative measure by having those alarm systems that activate, that are loud. It makes it better so that they're scared right off As soon as they enter, they're gone.
Once a day right now. If we had more volunteers, we'd do it twice a day. Every day, Monday. We do it Monday through Friday, and on Saturday we only have one person. And when we only have one person, they don't get out and walk around. So they'll drive by your house and check it to see if they see any suspicious things, but they won't walk around your house by themselves. It's up to you. We have people that give us a combination to their lock that unlocks the gate to the backyard. So it's up to you. If you want to do that, we'll go through, we'll get in your backyard.
And if you choose to do something like that, it may be worth getting a specific combination lock just for your vacations. And then you put that on your gate when you go on vacation. You can provide them the code, but it's not the one that you normally leave on there all the time. So it's just something you use when you're on vacation. Then you can use your regular key lock or whatever you're doing.
I will tell you one more thing. We do not check your house on the day you say you leave because we don't know what time you're leaving. And conversely, we don't do the same when you come back. We don't check your house on the day you say you're coming back because we don't like to surprise you showing up. And we have. And we have.
Let me throw out one more thing with alarm systems that was brought up. A trend over the last year or for the burglars to go to second stories, because usually you get alarm systems for the downstairs, thinking that's where they're going to break in. The trend is them to climb up on the balconies and break in upstairs, and most people keep their jewelry and whatnot in the master bedroom, oftentimes upstairs. So they gather all the property, and the alarm is only activated when they're running out the front door with your stuff. So if you happen to have a house with upstairs, consider putting either motion or glass breakage upstairs as well.
And when you think second story, some of these guys could have a career with Cirque du Soleil if they really wanted to. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the things that they've climbed up on, but instead they choose to be thieves, which is a shame.
I have a few. Someone asked about when the burglaries recur. 27% occur between the hours of noon and 4 in the afternoon. 27%. 20% occur between 8 and 12. 16%, 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock at night. So the majority of them are during the daytime. 23 of them are from 8 till midnight. But the biggest percentage is 27%, and that's from noon till 4 in the afternoon.
What is the process that what is the plans for the city to do something?